It was during these familial excursions that young Michael first encountered the traces of bears. The sheer power and majesty of these creatures fascinated him endlessly. He could lose himself for hours studying their footprints, attempting to visualize the formidable animals that left them behind. In the classroom, Michael was known as a quiet and introspective boy. Yet, mention anything about nature or animals, and a spark would ignite in his eyes. He could speak passionately and at length about his forest observations, sharing intricate details that captivated his listeners. His deep-seated interest in wildlife began to crystallize during these early years, especially as he observed animals from a distance in the expansive taiga. Upon completing his schooling, Michael faced a choice that would define his future. Instead of venturing to the bustling city like many of his peers, he opted to remain in his hometown. He secured employment as an assistant to a forest ranger, a role that allowed him to stay intimately connected with the natural world he so adored. Each day, he roamed the woodland paths, observing the lives of its inhabitants and diligently recording his findings in a well-worn journal. Then, over a decade ago, an incident occurred that irrevocably altered the course of Michael's life. During one of his customary treks through the taiga, he stumbled upon a bear cub in distress. The tiny creature's mother had been killed by poachers, leaving it vulnerable and alone. The cub was frail, clearly in desperate need of immediate care. Without a moment's hesitation, Michael decided to rescue the orphaned bear. He recognized that the cub wouldn't survive solo in the harsh wilderness. Naming him Misha, Michael brought the cub home and began to nurture him. He provided food, administered treatments, and cared for Misha as though he were his own child. The bond between them strengthened quickly. Misha became deeply attached to his savior. Through proper nourishment, affection, and attentive care, the cub thrived, growing rapidly into a robust and powerful bear. When Misha reached the age of 4, Michael faced another pivotal moment. He agreed to adopt a young female bear named Masha, who had lost her habitat following the closure of the local zoo due to bankruptcy. The two bears formed an immediate connection, their relationship blossoming swiftly. Before long, Misha and Masha became parents to 2 adorable cubs. In this unexpected turn of events, Michael found himself blessed with the grandchildren he had always longed for. The arrival of these tiny cubs ranked among the most joyous and exhilarating experiences of his life. The expansion of his bear family brought significant changes to Michael's existence. No longer was he responsible solely for himself. He now had a brood of sizable wild animals relying on his care. Determined to provide the best for his new companions, he began transforming his property to accommodate their needs. He constructed spacious enclosures designed to offer comfort and freedom for the bears. Attentive to every detail, Michael took charge of feeding the entire family and monitoring their health. Remarkably, he even remembered each bear's birthday, ensuring that these special days were celebrated regularly. Perhaps the most extraordinary aspect of this entire narrative is how he managed to communicate and coexist harmoniously with such formidable wild creatures. Michael developed a profound understanding of the bear's behaviors, emotions, and needs. He engaged with them on equal footing, speaking to them as if they were human counterparts. In response, the bears recognized him as their leader, showing him affection and respect. However, Michael was cautious not to domesticate them excessively. To maintain their natural instincts, he took them daily into the depths of the taiga, far from human settlements. There, the bears indulged in play, swam in pristine lakes, feasted on seasonal berries, and truly lived the life of wild animals. Michael observed their actions meticulously, jotting down crucial notes about the lives of these magnificent beings. In homage to his exceptional charges, he christened his homestead Bear's Den. Word of a man living harmoniously with bears spread rapidly throughout the region. Opinions about Michael varied widely. Some labeled him as eccentric or even mad, while others admired his bravery and the kindness he exhibited towards the animals. Critics argued vehemently that bears belonged exclusively in the wild and condemned Michael for keeping them confined. Yet, he patiently explained that many of his wards would not survive if released into the wilderness. Despite the criticisms, Michael remained steadfast in his mission, doing everything within his power to help the growing cubs become self-sufficient and well-adapted to natural life. To this end, he dedicated several hours each day to accompanying them in the forest. By capturing footage of his extraordinary outings, Michael aimed to create living conditions for the bears that closely mirrored their natural habitat. His home, nestled deep within the remote taiga, provided an ideal setting. The bears' interactions with civilization were limited to encounters with tourists and journalists who made the journey to visit the farm. Initially, local officials contemplated prohibiting Michael from keeping bears on his property. However, after witnessing the exceptional level of care he provided, they relented, granting him permission to continue his unique endeavor. Thus began a new chapter in Michael's life, a man cohabiting with an entire family of bears. It was an unparalleled situation, a human sharing his home with several potentially dangerous predators. Observers of his incredible walks with the bear family were struck by Michael's fearlessness and serenity, as well as his uncanny ability to communicate with such unpredictable wild animals. Before long, Michael and his bears became genuine internet sensations. As his fame grew, so did the number of visitors to his farm. Journalists and curious travelers alike sought to meet the man who lived among bears. Michael welcomed them graciously, sharing insights about his life, his bears, and the critical importance of environmental conservation. Despite the increasing attention, he remained a humble individual. He continued to reside in his modest house adjacent to the bears' enclosures, dedicating each day to the care of his wards. Personally attending to their feeding, cleaning their living spaces, and providing medical care when necessary were all part of his routine. Undoubtedly, Michael's life was not without peril. Though the bears were affectionate towards him, they were still wild creatures with instincts that could be unpredictable. There were instances when the bears exhibited aggressive behavior, necessitating Michael to summon all his courage and composure to soothe them and de-escalate potentially dangerous situations. On one occasion, during a playful interaction, a bear misjudged its strength and inflicted serious injuries on Michael with its sharp claws. Even this harrowing experience did not deter him. He acknowledged the inherent risks of his vocation and was prepared to face them for the sake of the animal's well-being. Over time, Michael became something of a local legend. His farm evolved into a sought-after destination for ecotourism. People traveled from far and wide to witness the man who lived harmoniously with a family of bears. Naturally, managing such large predators came with significant financial burdens. Michael often invested his entire savings into maintaining the farm and ensuring the bears received the best care possible. Yet, he never voiced complaints, viewing his work as a calling and considering the bears his closest companions. He placed immense importance on the health of his animals. Regular medical checkups were conducted, often involving skilled veterinarians. However, Michael also employed traditional remedies in folk medicine, some of which were remarkably innovative and effective. One of Michael's greatest pleasures was venturing into the forest with the bears. He derived immense satisfaction from observing their natural behaviors in the wild. The farmer could spend countless hours watching them fish in the rivers, forage for berries and nuts, and climb towering trees. These experiences not only brought him joy but also provided valuable insights. By understanding the bears' needs and instincts, he could create a more suitable environment for them back on the farm. Dozens of hours of footage showcased the intricate interactions between the bears and their cubs, all narrated with Michael's engaging commentary. He captured their playful antics, minor conflicts, and heartfelt reconciliations, highlighting the complex social structures and emotions these animals possess. Michael documented the cubs' first tentative steps, their initial attempts at climbing trees, swimming in forest lakes alongside him, and learning to catch fish. These intimate glimpses into their lives helped reshape public perception, allowing people to see bears not as fearsome predators, but as extraordinary and beautiful creatures. Additionally, he used his platform to dispel common myths about bears. He educated his audience on their behaviors, offered advice on safely encountering bears in the wild, and emphasized that these animals typically do not exhibit unprovoked aggression. Nevertheless, he was careful to caution against underestimating them or treating them as domesticated pets. In Michael's own words, when he is amidst the taiga surrounded by his children, he experiences a profound sense of happiness and liberation. He continues to live on his farm, enveloped by the bears he holds so dear.